on everything else. Welcome.
We are on. Well, almost
Awesome.
on. Soon. There we go.
Soon. Oh man, this week I feel like I've had a Rob week. I feel like this,
Yeah.
what's a normal week for you, has felt like a very busy week for me.
Yeah. This has been a nuts week. I'm ready for this week to be pretty over and get next week going. So
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for holidays to start,
Yeah. Are you ready? Oh, sorry. Let me add you in on here. Do you have like your guys' stuff pretty much ready or not ready at all or somewhere in between?
Yeah, we're pretty ready. I have all the stuff that I need to do. We have um all the gifts are pretty much done. It's just
Mm-hmm.
countdown at this point.
Nice. That's exciting. I
Yeah.
don't let me try to get on Instagram because normally I'm used to seeing the comments. Let me get on it on this side so that way I can see comments as they pop up too I like to
Yeah.
see who's there.
I have so many windows up and 2 additional phones up as well. So, yeah,
Let me
we got
see.
stuff. I need a better camera. My camera's not the clearest. Next upgrade.
Hold on. Oh, that was just messing me up. Okay, you'll just have to let me know if there's any cool comments that come through.
I will.
I'll look at TikTok.
Awesome.
Well, can
So,
you believe it? This is
yeah.
our last show of 2024, and Murph really wanted to be on, but he just had some stuff he had to take care of, so it's gonna just be me, you, and Brenda a little bit
Mhm.
later. I'll have to hop off a bit early too tonight just because we have family in town, so it's been a little nutty, but it's been good.
Yeah, it's
So
okay.
can't believe it.
I know.
2024 coming to a wrap.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really busy year. It was a great year. I really, really enjoyed it,
Mhm.
but definitely a busy year. And I would say, okay, since this is our last happy hour for 2024, let's do this. We're gonna do things a bit different today.
Whoa,
So
you're flipping the script, doing things
flipping
different.
the script. NSVs. What were your top 3 NSVs for
Mm.
2024? And this can go to anyone out there who is around who would like to share. What were your top 3 NSVs?
Hmm. All right. I think one, I don't necessarily know if these are going to be in ranked order. I'm just going to do them as I think of them.
That's okay.
So, number one, I feel like this has been such a big content growth year for me where
Mhm.
I've said this, many times that content is what I want to do full time. I want to be able to quit my day job so I can focus on content full time and financially support myself to do that. And I feel like this has just been a huge growth year for me with that. I've learned so much. I've gotten to meet and connect with so many new people. I feel like I've just grown and stretched in a lot of the ways I think about things when it comes to the business aspect of
Sure.
content, which has been really, really cool. Um, and it all started with like having bariatric surgery. I never thought that this would be what I would want to do full time. But now that
Yeah,
I'm doing it makes a lot of sense where I feel like this has been who I've been all along. So I feel like that's definitely one of mine. Um, let's see. Another one of mine has been just like getting more into fitness and like
mhm,
learning more about that and toning my body and learning how to move my body. There's been a lot of growth and learning in that aspect of things. And other NSV, I think another thing that I've grown a lot in this year is just letting go of things that don't matter and learning to
sure.
embrace the things that do matter. And I feel like I'm able to recover a lot quicker. Like even this week, for an example, I knew it was going to be a busy week with work, with family stuff. And I just feel like I can be more honest with myself and plan for that a bit better now than I used to be able to. So it's like knowing I'm not going to get as much sleep as what I'm used to this week. I'm not going to be eating the foods that I normally like to eat as much this week. And
Yeah.
to just be like, that's okay. It is what it is. I'm going to just roll through it. And then doing things that make it a little bit more manageable either during the week. I've just been trying to get pockets of rest, or knowing that, okay, when this is kind of done, I can go back into my routine. I have a better routine that I've made for myself this year. And so
Mhm.
I think I've grown a lot in that way too. So those are my top
Good.
three.
Good. So anyone else who just joined on, please feel free to share. Tony, hey, how are you? We are talking about, since this is our last episode for 2024 and our last happy hour for 2024, we're talking about our top NSVs for the year, not just lately, but for the year. So Shea actually just shared some of her top NSVs for the year, and we invite you guys to share with us as well, because this is a celebration of all of our NSVs. So.
Yes.
Mhm.
What about you? I can think of one of yours, I think.
Yeah, you know what? This year has been very, um, it it's obviously revolved a lot around the whole bodybuilding thing,
Hmm.
and as much as physically getting into the shape that I have gotten into is, one of my big achievements for the year. I think it's more what I've learned through the whole process and the journey, as well as um, what I've been able to teach my kids with it. So
Hmm.
for me, from my point of view, it's really two things. One is really being able to utilize, or learning how to utilize food to do what I want, as opposed
Hmm.
to having food control me.
Making
Because
food your bitch.
exactly, that's what I say. I have a shirt that says "You're my bitch food."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a friggin' really good way to put it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make a post saying that, "Food, you're my bitch."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly it, right? Because like, how often can we say that food has controlled us throughout our lives? Oh,
Mhm.
for me, 30 something years.
Mhm.
And so being able to really have a relationship with food where I can enjoy food, I can also click it on right away and be like, okay, I need you to do what I need you to do.
Mhm.
And if I make the decision to eat a bit more, I'm okay with that. And I feel like my relationship with food has never been stronger. Like right now, one of my last posts was that my diet hasn't been the greatest over the past week and a half, and I ended up
Mhm.
gaining a lot more than I planned to. But I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Like I, I
Mhm.
I can see a big picture in regards to what everything is in the grand scheme of things, so it doesn't really
Mhm.
bother me so much. Number two, oh, sorry, in terms of bodybuilding, it's the mindset
Mhm.
piece. You know, I find that I am more. I understand myself a lot more in regards to giving myself grace, understanding what motivates me, what's a setback for me, and how to sort of navigate around that. Um, and really, like during this whole bodybuilding thing, I learned that I literally can do anything I want,
Mhm.
right? Because, again, as much as it's physically go to the gym and work out and do this and eat this, it's really about discipline and putting yourself in that mindset, which is great
Mhm.
because we're going to be talking
Mhm.
about mindset so much today with Brenda.
Mhm.
But that really is what it's about, right? It's not about anything else. It's about being able to commit to something, being disciplined enough to stick to it, and learning how to motivate yourself to stay on it.
Mhm.
Um, and then I guess the last part for me is with radical body transformations is seeing all the amazing people, not just like local to where I am in my bariatric fitness group, but in our waiting table family
Mhm.
who have been inspired to sign up for that and will travel to Toronto next June to take part in that. And I've had like this week, I've had I think 4 or 5 conversations with people on the phone, and them asking me questions and me talking to them about it, and them being so like motivated to do it. And
Mhm.
I absolutely love it. Like, if there's anything that I can say I wanted to do, if I can leave a legacy when I leave social media and the waiting table, whatever the case might be, it would be to have inspired people to try this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so honored that people are doing that, and I'll be able to share the stage with them next June. So
Yeah, that's so cool. I have to tell you too, I was we have some family in town right now from out of state. And we were talking about just like my fitness journey and what I've been learning. And I was telling them though about you, and I totally showed my family like your bodybuilding pictures, and they were just so impressed, especially the one scene, where you started before surgery and then where you got to now. And some of them are kind of on fitness journeys themselves and,
nice.
working on losing weight in different ways or building muscle, whatever. And but yeah, I wanted to tell you that they were like, whoa, they were just like shocked. And then I had told them after, well, he's like one who's had weight loss surgery. They didn't even know that from looking at your picture at first.
Yeah.
And then when they knew that and saw the other pictures, they were like, that's insane. That's so cool. So
Oh, well,
you've been
that
a
is
topic of family conversation. I was showing my picture, the picture of you to
in
all
my
my
underwear.
family. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
So
You
yeah.
know what's interesting about that? There are a lot of people in my kids' school
Mm-hmm.
who have seen me in my underwear because they follow me on social media. And I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. I'm like, yeah, but it's also really awkward. But whatever. Whatever.
Whatevs.
Yeah. So again, anyone else who wants to join us, this is going to be the last happy hour of 2024. So feel free to share with us and with each other your biggest NSVs for the year.
While people are, feel free to share, please continue to do that. But what are you looking forward to in 2025, Rob?
That's a good question.
It could be I'm curious for the show. What are you excited about
Yeah.
and looking forward to? But then for yourself personally too.
So in terms of the show, like I think 2024 was a very big it was a shift for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like last year with the JBY Awards, there was a huge push to do more and more and be really active with the community. And we did so much, and I absolutely loved it. I love the fact that we could connect with so many people. But if anyone is very active with social media, or has a podcast, it's a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know with me, I personally got burnt out
Mm-hmm.
near the end of the year with all the little projects that we had going on. And so I was really proud that, we met, I think it was in January last year, and we had a discussion about what do we want to do? Like what is our goal with this? And we said that we wanted to go back to just connecting with the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure that we can nurture this family that we have, this waiting table family, and do that. And so I was super happy that we were able to do that and really stick to what we wanted. So next year, I'm really interested to see, or I'm really excited for us to connect with more people. Like I know that I've taken
Mm-hmm.
some time off throughout the year, especially later on because things get really, really busy. And so I want to continue to connect with more people, meet more people, and specifically, I would like to meet more people at the JBY Awards, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the Toronto. Like I want to do a meetup in Toronto, since we have so many people from our waiting table family taking part and competing. I would love to do a meetup with everyone. But yeah, JBY Awards as well. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me
How
too.
about you?
I know. I'm so excited for that too. Yeah, I feel like the last couple of years I've had like very specific goals and things that I've wanted to focus on for myself and for content. And I feel like this upcoming year, I'm just feeling a lot more like openness and not feeling like I want to like push anything. Like last
Yeah,
year I had very specific things in my mind going into the new year of what I was wanting to do, and I was just very specific about it, which that's great, that's fine, but like I think in 2025 my thing is just going to be being open to like opportunities and trusting my gut on things of what
sure.
feels right and what doesn't, and just going with that and not being as specific. And for the show, I agree. Like, I just want us to connect with more people, have more people on. Um, and I would love to meet more people in person. I feel like
Mhm.
that's always been a goal for me. Like each year is like, I want to meet
Yep.
more people in person. So really looking forward to the Just Be You Awards in St.
Mhm.
Louis. in April. I'm excited to chat with some of the pro care people and kind of
Yep.
get to spend more time with them. One of them being Brenda, who's going to be on our actual show a little bit later. But yeah, I'm excited. Just build more connection, and I think just not putting so much pressure on myself. And I thought I wasn't putting pressure on myself last year, but I feel like each year it's getting a
Yeah.
little bit better of just like
Yeah.
easing up on that a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah, I think this year has been a good year, I think, for the show in regards to boundaries, right? Like, I think we
Mhm.
all needed it.
Yeah.
Um, in regards to what we're willing to do, what we are willing to put time towards, because,
Mhm.
we're all super busy. Um, and, we all have our own things that we're working on. Um, and based on what we decided we want the waiting table to be, it gave us time to put towards our own things and to be able to say, no, let's not do that because I'm
Mhm.
busy and because I want to do this or because of this is my priority. And I think last year it was sort of like we were on such a high at
Yeah.
how well everything was going that it was like, no, go,
Mhm.
go, 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 go. Let's do everything. Let's do everything. And then it was just
Mhm.
like, and I'm burnt out. So I
Yeah.
was really proud of us this year in terms of like even the summertime, taking time
Mhm.
off, right? Like that was big, taking time off now for the next
Mhm.
couple of weeks. Like I love the fact that we were able to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
super happy. We have comments.
Yay!
Number one, actually, it sounds like people really, really want to meet people face to face. Tony says, I get to meet you guys at JBY's. That is an NSV for
So
next year already.
excited.
Tony, we will definitely see you guys there. I nominated you guys. I'm not even going to like hide it. I nominated
You're
you
like, I'll
guys.
try to be quiet.
Yeah,
Nah.
I nominated you guys. And so
I
Tony
know.
says, "Oh my God, I relate to the go 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 mentality for the podcast." So yeah,
It's so
100%.
hard.
Like it is hard. And obviously gauge yourself and what you guys can handle, but definitely just protect yourself in terms of that
Mhm.
because, the other tough part is when you burn out, you put the pressure on the other people, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then they'll burn out, and then you're just in a cycle of everyone burning out,
Mhm. Mhm.
alternating, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, protect yourself in regards to that. Yes, it is an NSV to meet you guys. Yes, I did nominate you guys already. When voting opens, I'll also vote for you. Um, but no, that's awesome. We also have Mary, who says when NSV was being able to work out consistently, what I'm looking forward to in 2025, meeting people in the bariatric community face to face. Mary, I am super excited to meet you in Toronto. I love the fact that you're working out consistently, that we were able to
Yeah.
chat this week. You friggin' walk.
And
Walk.
you walk,
You
Maui.
walk. You walk, Mary.
Fun fact, when I was little, I actually had a speech impediment where I couldn't say my R's, and that's legitimately how I talked, was like that. You walk, Maui.
You walk so much.
And also I want to say about Mary, I remember she was saying, it was like with her big change of being full-time RV, she was like,
Yeah,
kind of concerned about being able to get her movement in. And I remember talking with her about that. And it's been so cool to see you, Mary, do like practical movements and like you're just a badass. Like
yeah,
it's been so fun to watch.
yeah. We also have more V9S. I always struggle with this one.
Is it
6G
Matt?
23. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
NSV got my license picture post-op. Felt great putting new weight in and seeing the picture. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I
Didn't have to
actually
lie
have
about
no.
your weight.
Yeah,
I always lied about mine.
I have my old I have my old picture still on my license
Uh-huh.
for some dumb reason. I don't know why I didn't change it, but I
They're gonna be
didn't.
like, "This isn't you. This is a fake
Yeah,
ID."
I should have. Dumb. Lee Spar, I'm still very anxiously awaiting a Toronto meetup, June 7th weekend. We don't know exactly the dates because the 7th is the actual competition. It's a Friday night, but there will be some meetup going on, whether it's Saturday, whether it's the night of the competition afterwards, maybe a get together afterwards, maybe even before. It'll be a whole bunch of things. If we do it afterwards, we're going to be all tanned and nice and bronzed up, so it'll be great. But
Can you
yes,
do sparkles with your tan? Do people do, like,
yes.
sparkles?
They wanted to sparkle me up, and I was like, if there's gonna be a guy who's gonna get sparkled, it'll be me. So you should.
Nice.
But I
Hmm.
shine too much. I'm like, this is
I
my natural
know.
sparkles. You can't. I don't know if you You don't want to do that. Also, NSV for Lee, wearing a mother of the bride gown confidently and actually loving the
Oh,
pictures that were taken at the wedding. Oh, that
yes,
is
that's
so
such a good
good.
one.
That is so good. I look at
Mhm.
my wedding pictures when they come up every once in a while. I'm like, shit.
We should do new ones when I come and visit you guys. We should do you and Mary should get some new pictures done and
Done.
your
Let's
and
do
like
it
wedding pictures. Wouldn't that be fun? I've wanted to
for
do
sure.
that, or I've thought about that with Dylan too.
She
But
even, yeah, like Mary even says, like, why are we not doing pictures again? Like, if you walk through my house, it's just like
uh-huh.
all the old pictures. Like Marcus
Yeah.
just made it up on our wall now. I'm like, this took 7.
You're like, final, you've
I'm
earned
like,
your
who
keep
cares?
here.
Who cares, man? This guy. But yeah, literally, it was just like she's just like, do you want all your old pictures up? I'm like, whatever.
You should do, or we'll do new ones. I'll bring my
Okay, we'll
camera
do new
and
ones.
yeah, let's
It'll
do
be
it.
spring. It'll be nice. Done.
Yeah.
Lee's gonna put it in her calendar. Very excited. I'm excited to meet you as well. This is gonna be a good one because I think I was counting. I think from our waiting table family as well as my bariatric fitness group. Again, everyone who's had
Mhm.
bariatric surgery. I think there's close to 15 competitors,
Wow.
maybe even slightly more. And I'm just like, this is so awesome. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even care. No, I'm lying. I was gonna say, if I don't even care to win, I do care to win the elite division.
Yeah.
However, that's not even like what my highlight will be. Like, it's just
Yeah.
to be up there. I totally
Mhm.
want to be up there with the people in our community for a picture. Oh my God.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
so good.
I know. I still don't know if I'm gonna compete yet. We'll see, but I do really wanna try to make it out there at least, 'cause especially
Mary and
knowing
I were
so many.
talking about it. We are just like,
Was she getting
hey,
all of
she
the
should
books
compete.
ready?
She was like, you should compete. Like the changes that you've made. Oh, I
Yeah.
agree, man. And this is what I said to every single person who I had calls with
Mhm.
today, this week. 24 weeks. It's 24 weeks away. There's a lot you can
Yeah.
do in 24 weeks,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? So I was just like, and then when I break it down for a lot of people, I'm just like, that's 24 pounds of fat that you can lose, right? Like that's
Mhm.
this like you could do. Like there's a big amount of change you can do in that time. And they're like, "Oh my God, I can." I'm like, "Yeah, you
Yeah.
can, man." There's one person I was like, "You
Mhm.
can potentially lose 40 to 50 pounds of fat in this time
Yeah. Yeah.
from where you are." I'm like, and honestly, like even if you don't, right? Like the commitment you're making to make this change right now, you're gonna look back at the end of this and be like, "Holy shit, I did this." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you will. Like you literally will.
I know, I think it's still, like, imposter syndrome that
Sure.
I'm coming up against,
Yeah.
and, like, the fear of it, but it's like, yeah, I totally could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it, and it's like, it's not gonna change. I'm still gonna be doing the same things.
Yeah.
I might just be adjusting a little bit of, the workout plans or how often, but overall, it's stuff I'm doing already, so
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
see.
We have another NSV on TikTok. Breaking free
Yeah,
from 715
that's
pounds.
Jamie. We
Hey,
had Jamie on a
Jamie.
couple weeks ago.
I want to finally not be on a weight loss journey in 2025.
I
Yeah.
feel that. That's
That, you know,
awesome.
that actually just kicked into me right now when I read that.
Mhm,
Like in my head, like I'm still on a weight loss journey. I'm just like, no,
mhm.
I don't know if I really am, right? Like I feel like for the past few years, when you think back, it's just like I'm just living life.
Yeah,
Right? But it's so
mhm.
hard because, like, we worked so hard for this, right? And
Yeah.
it was such a big goal for us.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what he's meaning, but it is nice that I remember thinking that of like, "Man, if I could just get to the point where I didn't need to, like, actively be losing
Yeah,
weight and I could just maintain and tone and just maintain," like, that's what I was looking forward to for so long, and it's like it is really nice to be there, and, you still have weight fluctuations,
yeah,
things that you're trying to work on, goals you're trying to achieve, but yeah, to not have that big of a change, it's like a double-edged sword of like, you don't get that dopamine hit of like, "Oh, I
right.
lost more weight, I lost more weight." And it's also like nice just to have my body more balanced and like not
Yeah,
having that big of a change so frequently. Like,
yeah,
so I don't know if that's what he was meaning, but if so, I get that.
yeah, I love that. And, you know, someone in Instagram also just said, "Yeah, a new life," right? And yeah,
Mhm.
like all this just feels so surreal, so different, so amazing that we
Mhm.
are actually even living this life, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that we're able to just look at a life where we're maintaining, that we're not actively trying to lose, and it's just like
Mhm.
that's what we're chasing anymore, right? It's just
Yep.
sort of this is what it is. And for me, like I think the big thing is, yeah, we're gonna have fluctuations, we're gonna go up, we're gonna go down, but being okay with that, right?
Mhm.
Being okay
Mhm.
with that. I think that is so important because, I remember after first year, and I see this a lot with a lot of people still. After first year, your body sort of normalizes and regulates, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden you have a little bit of regain, and then there's a lot
Mhm.
of, oh shit, right? It's like, oh my God,
Yep.
and then there's some panic, and again, being at a spot in your life where you're just like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Mhm.
with a little bit of regain. I'm okay with not feeling like I have to chase,
Yep.
right? Like
Mhm.
chase more weight loss. Like that, there's something very calming about that. There's something, at the end of the day,
Mhm.
like a new life. It's a normal life that
Yep.
I know for me, that was what I wanted. I wanted to be just
Mhm.
like everyone else,
Yeah,
right?
and realizing I say this all the time, but it's like our bodies are not statues. They don't
Yeah.
stay the same. They ebb and flow and do different things. And I think, yeah, making peace with that is a really good feeling.
Yeah. I want
Mhm.
to ask you, Shay, because I'm looking
Mhm.
at comments. I think we're all pretty good. Um, I think in 2024, I ended up forming a couple, I wouldn't say slogans, but like things that you really live by,
Mhm.
right? Like things that always pop up in your head, things that
Mhm.
always are,
Mantras.
yeah, like
Mhm.
what would you say would be one or two that sort of the last year has really defined for you?
Top one this year is progress over perfection. I know that's like kind of a common or cliche one, but that
Yeah.
one has really been a focus for me this last year. I feel like the year before that, it was other people's reactions and responses have nothing to do with me or rarely have anything to do with me,
Mm,
and learning how to navigate that and realize that I'm going to certain things that I say or do will cause big reactions or emotions in other people, and a lot of the times it has nothing to do with me at all. It's just stuff that they have to, work on or not, or it's more stuff for them. So those are the top two I think that stand
yeah.
out to me. What about you?
I have two. I have two. And again, these both sort of formed through the whole process that I was going through. Number
Mhm.
one is, um, the only limitations are the ones that you create for yourself. I
Mhm.
wholeheartedly believe that.
Mhm.
There's obviously some limitations, physical, that you can't control, or whatever the case
Mhm.
might be, things you
Mhm.
can't control. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of the limitations that we've created or we continue to create are ones that we choose to do so, right? And I feel like, and this is going to be great to discuss with Brenda, but
Mhm.
when we talk about how mindset can really allow us to get past a
Mhm.
lot of these limitations, I think that's the most powerful thing, just really unlocking your mind. And the other part for me, or the other thing for me, um, Brenda's taking notes. She's gonna. I see her. She's like, I'm gonna answer this shit. Um,
She's
the
like,
other,
"Let me at him."
yeah, the other one for me is, the importance of showing up for yourself so you can show up for others, right? Like,
Mhm.
and the way I sort of see it is, you think about, you're in a shitty mood, but you're just like, oh, I commit, I'm gonna go to the gym. But then there's always a point when you're in the gym, and usually it's actually just when you leave the house that you're just like, I see the good in me doing this, and
Mhm.
your mood flips right away because then you've made a
Totally.
conscious decision, and you're going to be better for yourself. But as a result, you're going to be able to show up and be better for the other people who matter and who you love. And
Mhm.
I always feel like when you make, and this is my point of view as a father, if I make decisions that hurt me, I'm not just hurting me, I'm hurting the other people I love because
Mhm.
I'm not putting my best version of myself forward. And so it's the importance of waking up and understanding that every day I have the choice to make a decision on what type of day this is going to be. Am I going to make the most of this day or am I not? And as much as I'm tired, as much as I'm in a shitty mood, whatever the case might be, always going to make that decision,
Mhm.
right? So
Yep.
those are my two.
Awesome. I love it.
Hmm.
Well, Do you want, I'm okay not taking a break because I have to hop off a bit early
Yeah,
tonight. Do you
screw
want to
breaks.
just roll on through?
We're gonna roll. We're
Sexy
gonna
time
roll on
music will
through.
have to wait for 2025.
Yeah, we don't
Well,
even get
we
sexy
want you guys
time
to
music.
come.
We don't even get an intro video. We're going
No, let's just
straight.
roll right in. Okay,
We're
so
rolling.
TikTok friends, come join us on YouTube, Instagram. We just can't stream on
Yeah.
TikTok. It's kind of it's annoying. So go join. The link is in our bio for the waiting table. You can find the
Mhm.
link to that. And I'm gonna end it here on TikTok. But come watch because you guys are not gonna want to
Yeah.
miss this episode with
Thank
Brenda.
you,
So
TikTok. Thank you for being patient with this old guy who doesn't know how to do anything on TikTok.
yes.
What do you mean, yes?
Hey, I'm agreeing. It's nothing that nobody doesn't know already.
This is true. This is true. Bye, TikTok.
um awesome. Yeah. Okay. So let's just roll right in because
Let's
I do you want to just bring yeah.
That's it. That's all we
Okay,
get.
perfect. That's all. That's all.
Great.
All right. Do you want to bring Brenda on? I'm so
I do.
excited to have Brenda here. She's
Woo!
here. Hello. How's
Oop,
it
there I
going? There
am.
you
Hey, Brenda, how
are.
are you? We didn't even give her a warning.
Brenda, you're like a longtime friend. It's like
Mhm.
we can do things casual with you here. That's
Yeah.
why we're gonna bring you
Unless
on.
you really want sexy time music.
We will give you the
Because
choice.
I'll always take sexy time music, but you know
right?
what? You don't have to do it just for me.
It
Well,
serves as a soul.
I feel bad, Brenda. I'm gonna have to hop off at it in about 10 minutes or so because we have some family in town, but I at least wanted to be on for a little bit. And I think once we get started, you and Rob are going to nerd out, and I'm excited about that. But
Yeah, for
before
sure.
we get into that, can you introduce yourself? Who are you? Why do we love you so much? Let's start there.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, for those of you guys who do not know me, my name is Brenda, and from the bariatric world, I work with a company called ProCare Health, which is a
Whoop, whoop.
bariatric vitamin and supplement company. So that's what probably some of you may know me from. But I also had weight loss surgery, and I've been on my own weight loss journey since about 13. So it's been 11 years, and
Wow.
it's been a wild ride in lots of ways, not just the weight, but just like growing in so many other ways. So the thing that I'm really passionate about, which is a hobby, which probably a lot of people don't know, is that I love holistic health. And how I kind of got into that is so years ago in my past life, I worked in the hospital setting in emergency medicine. And I did that for about 20 some years. And through that, you go through these really high peaks of emotional states. It was intensely stressful. And so I think that was part of probably too why I put on a lot of weight, because I am very empathetic. I love people and I take on emotions very easily. And so part of my journey was learning how to process that. And so I started studying holistic health. The first thing that I started studying was a technique called healing touch, which is just basically using the hands to balance the body. And it's something like Reiki, if some people have heard of that, but it's kind of more nursing module based. It has a little bit different platform than just Reiki, but I started studying that. And I just from there branched off and studied tons of different kinds of therapies just because I found it so interesting. And from coming from the hospital standpoint, you learn so much about Western medicine. You learn about,
Mhm.
you know, the physical body. You learn about, um, I don't know, all these different things about the body itself, but like learning what causes people to really become sick and what causes people to heal on a different level fascinated me. And I thought, you know what, like working in the hospital setting, you'd have people come in with these bags of 50 medications. And I kid you
Yep.
not, like, I don't even know how in the hell they ever knew what they were supposed to be taking, but some of them did not, of course. But I thought, there has to be something more than just helping people on the ways that we normally do, you know, there has to be more, and what causes people really to be sick. So it led me into a whole new path.
Yes. And that's why when Brenda and I think it was, can't remember if it was on my Grow with Shea podcast or if it was on the Very Connected podcast. But the first conversation we had, I'm like, yes, like everything you're saying, I can relate to. I understand. I know I've been one who has always taken on emotions really easily. And the energy medicine and learning more about that. Initially, I was kind of like, this is kind of weird. And I don't know about that. It seems kind of woo woo. And then the more like science that's come out about it, the more I've learned about it. It's like amazing to me that it's not something that's practiced more. And so, Rob, you're going to have as much, a lot more time with Brenda.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
just
let
trying
me
to
talk.
get my
Go ahead.
fix it. Yeah. And we don't really like talking with
No,
you
no,
much
no,
anyway.
no,
No.
it's fine. I'm
But
just, I can be.
yeah, no, I mean, you're used to that. But I'm curious, Brenda, tell us about the courses that you have coming up, more so because I'm just so excited and I already signed up. I just tell us what you've been working on and what you're going to be including in that, more so just because I'm really excited and I want to hear about it.
Well, Shea was my first person to sign up. I'm just like, yes, I have some love here.
Yes.
So basically I'm calling them mind body soul transformative practices. It's a 12-week class by class, like once a week session starting January 7th. And the reason I did it was because I've offered classes in my local community before. And here recently I had some individuals from the gym I'm working out at. One of the health coaches, her and her husband are both very much into that. Mel and Keith Valansky at Peak Fitness in Perryville. And then the yoga studio that I actually do energy work out of, Jess Moy, they had some people from their team had reached out, and then I had some people from another community in St. Louis that had reached out because I had taught classes like this before. So basically what it's going to be is it's not just going to be, I'm going to call it energy work. It's going to be tying in a bunch of different things that I've learned in that realm. So it's going to be kind of understanding the body on a energy level, meaning your body is all energy. And so like learning how you can utilize that to make changes, and not just, so it's going to be a little different than just mind or mental work or mindset work. We're going to be talking about increasing your intuition for decision making, meaning an introduction to the clairs, I'm going to call them, like your clairvoyance, your clear seeing, your clear hearing, your all of those senses. We're going to talk about some breathing, some meditation. We're going to talk about using your emotions as a guide, like a guidance system. We're going to be talking about really clear visioning processes. I want to call it quantum visioning because it's kind of like jumping. Like you can actually find yourself, like where we are right now is in the form of energy. So you can actually jump your energy. You can close that gap of where you are and like jump into what you call the future. But it's actually just a process. We're going to talk about, getting answers to questions. I have found some incredible techniques. Like they blew my mind away, even within the last few years, some things I had never heard of. Some of these techniques are new. Some of them are old. Some things like the Silva method. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. Sedona method, some healing touch stuff, like some ways to like take your body to a new level. Like if you're having a pain issue or some type of healing issue, it could even be like cancer, it could be arthritis, it could be whatever. We're going to use some other techniques like color therapy, sound therapy. I have so many things. I don't even know. Just there's a touch of it.
That's so fair. I'm just so excited because one of the things we were talking about in happy hours, one of the things I'm going into the new year with is just trying to be more open and not so specific on goals or what I'm wanting to do, but just be more open-minded to like opportunities that come up. And I feel like it's just the perfect time to do a course like this and to just learn more language so I can like apply those things better. And I feel like it's so helpful for people who have had weight loss surgery, in the sense that for me, after it was pretty quick for me after having my surgery. It was a very intense experience of like being connected with my body for the first time, probably since I was like a young child. And it was a very intense experience, and learning more learning more language on how to make all those things connect, the mind, the body, the soul. Like, it just makes making decisions so much easier. It makes trusting myself so much easier, but it's definitely a thing that takes time, and it's a process. It's like exercising, like you have to build those muscles. And so I just feel like your course is coming at such a perfect time for me, where I'm just so excited just to kind of get more tools, learn more language and how to apply it. And if any of that is resonating with anybody with the last couple minutes I have before I have to jump off, like, please go sign up. I am so excited to be a part of the community and just learn more. And I just can't wait.
One thing you mentioned too, I just want to kind of say too, is it's a perfect timing too, because as we're moving into 2025, I know for me, I've never really been, quote, necessarily a New Year's resolution kind of person, but I've always been very, very big on setting intentions and like vision, like maybe vision boards and things like that. I've taught classes on vision boarding just because I think it's so fun. But I think that when you become like, what it is really just setting your intention and your focus, because that's where your mind goes. And you can create such big things. So like just bringing in the new year with some huge ways of doing that. And we will be definitely touching on manifestation, because I always had found that so intriguing. So I actually myself have enrolled in so many different classes in that in the past, just because it's one of those things when you can navigate this world in clear ways of doing it. It's so incredible. But yeah. Thank you, Shea, and thank you guys for having me. And I appreciate it. I know you said you need to jump off, but
but Rob will be here, and you're already speaking his language.
God,
I'm like,
I've been waiting for you to hurry up, get your questions
I know,
in so you can leave.
When you were talking about mindset, I'm like, oh yeah, this is right up Rob's alley.
It's like me talking with him about like macros and micros, and just like, oh my God,
yes,
this is my show, Brenda.
I know. So I will bid you adieu, so that way Rob can ask his questions in chat. But I'm so excited, Brenda, and I hope you guys all sign up for her class, just because I want other people to talk with about it too as I go through it. So anyway, with that, I love you, Brenda. Love you, Rob. I will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Get out of here. Sheesh. All right. It's time for the real question.
I can't wait to offer all the questions. Ask away, because I don't even know where to start. Like whenever I started talking about this class, I almost kind of felt like a little overwhelmed. I've been working on it, honestly. So once I made the decision to do it, it's 12 classes. So like it's taken me a week to 2 weeks for each class to try to plan it. Just because I just want to push everything in there, everything I can.
That's the tough part, because like if it's something that you're so passionate about, like I know that initially the question might be, or the thought might be, do I have enough to fill up a course? And then you're like, holy crap, I need to cut things out. Like anytime I talk to someone, like if I talk to Kim about like diet, and if I talk to people about the whole bodybuilding experience, I'm just like, okay, I have time for like 10 minutes. I'm like, yep, 45 minutes later we're still talking. But no, I totally see that with you, and I absolutely love it, because I could totally see that. So I used to do mindset work with a coach, and when I had bariatric surgery, that was, for me, I would say it was the foundation of my success. It was really looking at the way I was looking at life. And like, if you scroll back to all my hundreds of posts and look at my very first post, it was about meditation. All of those posts were about meditation every day. And it was about the feeling of gratitude that I was having, which was so weird, because it was in the shell of someone who had the feeling of guilt for so long, and fear, and unhappiness. And it was a really quick mindset shift, right? And so when I'm listening to you talk about all the different things, you talk about manifesting, that was one of the most powerful things for me. And so I want to hear about all these different things. But before that, my question would be, because I see it, but I want to hear where you think that, or why you think that this course would be good for our community, the bariatric community. So where do you see it fitting sort of in their journey and I guess the success of their journey?
So I think everything for myself, I'm kind of like you, Rob. Once I started learning these practices, it's became an everyday part of my life. And I think that has really led to my own success with weight loss surgery.
Yep.
Because guys, everything is not created from the outside in, it's created from the inside out. And to have anything change in your life, you first have to create it on a different level. It first is created in here, and then it shows up in your life. So you have to be able to, and I'm going to talk in matter of energy, you have to meet that resonance. You have to be in that frequency. You have to become that for it to show up in your life. So if you're wanting to lose weight, you actually have to almost be in that vibe. It's the only way I can put it, in order for it to start showing up. So you have to think healthy. You can't be focused on being a failure. You have to think about being healthy. You have to think about your body functioning differently. And sometimes that's hard whenever you're in it. When you're in it in the moment and you're 200 pounds overweight and you're tired and you can't go on, you have to find a way to shift that in order to start seeing results in your life. Otherwise, it's just going to be that same revolving little door.
Sure. Yeah. I always liken this to, I'm dating myself, a music video from the early 2000s from a band called Collective Soul. Their music video was The World I Know. And in this, it's filmed in these like grayish, bluish, like looks really dreary. And it's a guy, he's sort of like on a ledge and he's about to jump off a building. And then something happens. And then he sort of has this change of heart, and all of a sudden the whole video is filmed in full color in the sun. And I sort of think of it in that sense. Like the way I sort of talk about it is seeing the world through just a different lens now, right? And the thing is, you can control that lens, right? You have control over what you see through, right? Like if you're if you were to imagine like trying to look through the world with these dirty glasses that have all this dust and dirt and oil and film, and you're looking at it, it sucks. It looks dreary. You don't know what you're seeing. You can't see clear. But when you clean those glasses, your path is clear, right? It's in your power to clean those glasses, right? And a lot of times we go through this whole bariatric journey not thinking we have the ability to do that, right? But we totally do. And I think a lot of the things that you're talking about is proverbially our ability to clean those glasses, right? It's putting the power in our hands, and it's just understanding we have that.
And I think too, I heard you and Shea talking right before I came on about like what your years were and things like that. And I was kind of thinking back, for me, I think it's become crystal clear that the deeper that you go into the darkness, the deeper that you go into anything is a challenge, is the bigger the gift, because those things that are presented in our life are there to only as contrast for you to see the light. They're just there. If you can remember that, no matter how deep in the darkness you are, they're only there for you to see what the opposite of that is, what you want. It's to push you into the desire. You would never want a change of anything. You would say if you're comfortable and you feel good, you don't ever want to change. You just want to stay the same because it feels comfortable. But when you become uncomfortable in the comfort, meaning that the comfort no longer comforts you, that the darkness of whatever it is, it presents itself to you and you need a change, then that's whenever you feel that desire to want something new. And I think it's about navigating that, finding a way to do that in the easiest way possible.
Yeah.
Less painful way.
For sure. And it's interesting because we speak with a lot of people and they're like, oh, I hated that person. I don't ever want to go back again. And I get that because I don't ever physically want to go back again. I don't want to emotionally go back again. But that doesn't mean that with the way I see life and the gratitude I have for everything in my life, I can't go back and be grateful that I experienced that. Because realistically, if we're looking at our success now, we're looking at the person we are now, that person wouldn't be that person unless we went through the things we went through, right? We wouldn't have been able to overcome anything if we didn't have those challenges and those hurdles. So like I always tell people, like, I get it, but don't write that person off because that person also overcame those things to become who you are right now. That person also taught you the things that you don't want to go back to allow you to be the person you want to be, right? So don't fully write that person off. There's a lot of value in that person, right? And I think being able to see the value in the person who you think had the least value allows you to sort of look at the amount of value you have in yourself now, right?
So what does that look like for you? I'm curious. Like what do you see has changed, or what do you think you've learned through your bariatric journey? Because I think that's what it's about, really.
100%, right? I think the biggest thing that I've learned really is my worth, right? As a father, as a husband, as a friend, and outside of the other people that are affected, but to me, right? Like I think I've always had an idea of who I was, but not really was, who I wanted to be. And you know, I think that I've created that person, and that person may not, you know, I always share this story that like if I did this this practice once, this exercise where you had to sort of meditate and you had to imagine it was 15 years down the line. So there was a doorbell at your door, or someone knocked at your door and you opened it up and it was you 15 years ahead of time. But this was the absolute best case scenario of who you wanted to be. Like, this is the person you always dreamed of, like the best version of you, right? And what would you ask that person? And what piece of advice would you want to get from them? And I remember when I did that, thinking about who that person was and formulating this idea of, this is the person I want to be. This is the person I emulate this person or this version of me. And 4 years down the line, I am that person. I'm that person, but I've surpassed that person, because that person was me trying to think of the absolute best case scenario of Rob. I've created the best case scenario of Rob, right? And as we go along, there are things that we learn about ourselves that the person back then who was 400 pounds thought that, oh, this is what I want to be. No, me now knows what I want to be. Me now knows what my kids want, what my wife wants. And that is the person who I choose to be. And so it's so interesting to sort of see how I think I've been able to create the person I want to be based on what was important to me, and being able to feel like I am the absolute best version of me. And I don't have to think about how can I be better? How can I be this guy, or whatever the case might be. I think it's so empowering to know your value, to know your worth. And it comes across in everything you do, your confidence and the boundaries you create yourself, the things that you're willing to let pass and not let pass because of who you are, right? So that would be my answer, as my kid is ninja crawling into my room. Oh my God, there's like 700 people on this podcast and they're just like, oh, who is this random kid? Good night, buddy.
Hello.
This is
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, he says.
Oh.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Okay, yeah.
Good night.
Aw.
Good
Night.
See you later. Yeah, so that would be, for me, that's I think the biggest parts that have changed. And you said it, right? If you make those changes from within, everything else happens. Like I always say that you make those changes. If your mind makes those changes, or the way that your mind works, your body's going to follow. Your body doesn't dictate everything. It's your mind, right? So how about you?
110. Yeah. As I forgot exactly what the question was, but oh, what has changed?
Yes, what has changed?
I'm going to just say for the last year for me. So as I said before, I had to have weight loss surgery about 13 years ago, and I had struggled with a little bit of weight regain. I had gained back about 35 pounds, and this last year, starting in June of last year, not 2000, it was 2023. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do some things, and I knew, like, my intuition was telling me what things I needed to do, and so I went back, saw my primary care. I actually got started on a GLP-1 because I just knew that was going to help me for whatever reason. I just knew, and I got started on hormone replacement therapy, which was super helpful. I started working out at the gym consistently, so I started working with a trainer 4 days a week, and started getting more in touch with my nutritional side, like looking at that. And we're talking here about all of this stuff. I decided, because I've always been interested in personal development, but I decided no matter what, every single day I'm going to spend 30 minutes. Some days it's 3 hours on personal development every single day. That is every single day.
That's amazing.
And so it's been really part of the precursor of me. I've been able to lose the 35 pounds plus another, I'm almost at another 10 almost. So, hitting very close to where I want to be. I'm right. I surpassed my first goal, my first weight loss surgery goal, and I'm trying to hit on my second one. So that has definitely been, I mean, I kind of felt like I came at it a lot of different angles. So it wasn't just one thing, but I will say that I'm going to call it not just mindset work. What I'm like, my overall goal is I usually spend time, like you said, Rob, meditating every single day. Usually it's 3 times a day, usually in the morning, whenever I get up, before I go to bed, and then during the day at some point. And then I spend time on some type of personal development. Yeah. And sometimes it's podcasts. Sometimes I enrolled in something called Mind Valley. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but that is, it's basically a whole list of over 100 classes that you can do on anything that grows your mind. Oh, nice. And a lot of it is energy work and things like that. So I dig that kind of stuff anyways. Sure. But so that was mine. And really, truly, my whole bariatric journey has been growth. Like, from the time I decided to have weight loss surgery, it's not always just been about the weight. It's been about developing myself emotionally, keeping my emotions more stable as opposed to just being way high, way low. Yeah. People ask me all the time, they're like, do you ever get upset or mad? Like, you always seem happy. Everybody goes through all those emotions, guys. Sure. It just depends on how long you want to stay there. Like, it's not that I deny that I have emotions like that, but you can learn from them, and then you can kind of move on. You can, and you can also learn how to react, like how strong your reactions are to things. You can be more neutral as opposed to like being way up and way down, which is where I used to be all the time.
Sure, for sure. I think that's super important because, like, I know a lot of the things that happened to me when I started a lot of the work that on myself was being able to be a lot more even keeled, right? A lot more. And I think it was a lot of patience as well, right? Learning to be patient and really understanding what that meant to you, right? What being patient meant to you, because, it's easy to say, oh, I want to be patient, but what does that actually mean? Right? Who does it affect other than yourself when you're, and for me, it was always a matter of, I want to be patient with my kids because, unfortunately, when you get super mad and you're very stressed, and it's always usually the kids who are going to who are gonna like trigger something,
They're an
and
easy
then
target, right?
for sure they 100% are, right? And like, do they deserve it half the time? Yeah, maybe, but they're the ones who will get it because they're the ones who will trigger you. And so thinking really big picture about what does that all mean, I think is so important. I love the fact that you had mentioned spending X amount of time every day on yourself and prioritizing yourself and growth, because I don't know, you look at a lot of the things that we prioritize and we put time and effort in, and rarely are they things that really help with our progression as a person, right? And even if you think about all the time and effort we put into ourselves physically, right? We're willing to spend X amount of money on all this stuff, but oftentimes you spend that money on your brain, on your mindset, the way you think, sort of your perspective. A lot of things will follow in afterwards and they fall in line, right? I always tell my wife, because she'll oftentimes ask me, she's really into healthy ingredients now and really looking at what the best option are for our kids and for ourselves. And she'll be like, oh, but it's really expensive. I don't know if should we buy it. And I will always tell her, don't ever ask me about whether we should spend money on things that we're prioritizing for ourselves, right? Like, it's not like you're buying some random thing. It's not like I'm buying something for my millions of hobbies. You're buying things that will mean that we're eating healthy and that we will better ourselves. I'm like, that is something that we should invest in. We should invest in ourselves more than anything, and we shouldn't think twice about it, right? But we do. I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend an extra $2 on this milk, even though it's healthier and better for us, or whatever the case might be, or this snack, but I will spend that on some other thing just without thinking twice, right?
Oh, I love that. It's so important. Well, it's just like too, like exercise. You spend a certain amount of time in the gym. I know for me, initially that was hard. I don't know why. And I just had to look at it. You know what? I get up in the morning. If I'm not going to work out, I'm going to be on my phone for an hour doing mindless little, just watching social media,
like,
where I could be at the
shorts.
gym and doing something. Yeah.
Oh,
But like the personal development, guys, it is so easy to fit stuff like that into your schedule. I do it whenever I'm putting on my makeup, when I'm doing my hair, when I'm folding clothes, when I'm doing laundry, when I'm doing my dishes, because all it takes is having your cell phone. You dial on to a podcast, you dial on to whatever class, YouTube even. They have tons of stuff on there to get you inspiration. You do that, and an hour goes by just like that. You get up in the morning, and it takes it for me. I used to reset my alarm clock 20 times, but now I set it early enough to where I just lay in bed and I meditate for a little while, because it gets you waking up slowly. Maybe have a second alarm if you need to kind of fully wake up, or right before you go to bed. Sometimes it takes a while. Sure. So like, these are times when you'd be already spending time, either, I don't want to say wasting time, because there's not really a wasting, but doing things that might not have been so helpful. So how about you? How did you get that mindset of working out? Because that was probably a change for you too, wasn't it? Whenever you first started?
Oh yeah, it was. And I say this same thing. I'm not going to name names because this person's not listening to it anyways. But there was a friend of mine who we had, and it was because of this intervention from my friends, because they said that they were very worried about me. Because I wasn't walking. I couldn't walk. I was using a cane and I couldn't do all this stuff. My weight was going up, and then, they had this bit of intervention with me, and they had I had asked them, well, if I can't walk, but I can ride a bike. So if you would ride a bike with me, if I bought a bike, would you ride your bike with me every day? And we did. And we ended up doing that consistently. And we ended up getting really into road biking. So much so that we joined a gym in the wintertime, which is the gym I'm at now still. And we did like virtual cycling. And in the middle of the winter, there was always a thing where it was just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Not me, with them. And I would always say, once you step out of the house, like, that's the hard part. It's always just
get out of bed.
Just get out of bed. Just get off the couch and have your bag set and step out of the house. We are waiting for you outside. The car is running. You just need to get in the car and go. But once you step out of the house, you're already done. You've already won, because you're not going to go and you're automatically going to feel better. And so for me, it was really getting started. And that's why when I talk to people about bariatric surgery, I always congratulate them on making that decision to change. Not on the big journey. Well, that was obviously something that's great, but it was the decision to make that change, right? Because this was conscious. This was, I want to better myself for whatever reason. And you did it, right? And that was the most important part. And so for me, it was really just about being honest with myself and being able to make conscious decisions that led me in that direction. And I think, when I talked about the whole meditation and mindset thing that was the foundation to my success, I think that really is transferred over to other aspects of my life. 4 years later, I still think that's the reason why I'm able to be so disciplined with things. I'm able to see continuous success in all the different things I go into. It's because I took a lot of the things I learned early on, and that ends up just being part of who I am, right? And so, people were like, "Oh, that's really hard. Did you find it very hard?" Sure, I did. But then I made the decision that I'm going to get past that. And everything else that I did, my focus was with the goal of getting past it, right? There was no like, "Oh, I'm going to try it." No, I'm just going to do it, right? And did I fail numerous times while trying to do that? Sure. But that's still what I wanted to do. And that's the way I wanted to do this. And again, it's just coming from that decision of I'm going to make a decision to prioritize myself and to get something done, right? And I think that really was the big thing for me in terms of making these changes. Now, there is one, and I can't remember the word, and it's because I am very tired. When you listen to something over and over and over again, what is that word again? It's
repetition, or
it's repetition, but like, so I'll tell you what I did. I don't. It's, oh my God, it's gonna piss me off when I do remember it. I would listen. Not a mantra. No, I don't know. It's not that. I would listen. There was an app where you can record something, and you would listen to it over and over and over again, right? And the whole idea is that you hear it enough times, you're going to start thinking about it, start believing it. And you actually, the way that we had done it is, it's the last thing you listen to as you go to bed. Like, I like listening to white noise oftentimes. So it'll be your white noise. This is what you listen to before you go to bed. And if you wake up in the morning, I'm going to wake up, go pee or whatever. I'm going to press play and I'm going to continue listening to it as I fall back asleep. Or it's the first thing I listened to right when I woke up. And I remember being like, this is the dumbest stuff ever. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to hear myself saying I'm going to do this or I am this. And the whole thing, like, when I remember what I still have it too. If I listened to what I was saying, it was, I am a good father. I am a patient father. I am a good husband. I am a happy person who enjoys all aspects of his life. I am proud of myself. I live a life that is guilt-free because I know that I've put everything into my relationships. I remember being like, why am I doing this? And then about a week later, I was looking, and this is why we talk about that whole patience thing with my kids. I was looking at the way I was interacting with my kids, and I was not losing my stuff anymore. I was not losing my patience. I was talking to them. I was being very understanding and empathetic to what they were saying. And then I was looking at the relationship I had with my wife, the way that I was communicating with her. And then after about a month, I started looking at the way I saw myself and all the things that I was saying. That was the way I was starting to believe and view myself. And, if I listen to those things now and I look at who I am now, I can guarantee without remembering everything that everything I said back then is who I am now. And it's because those are the building blocks. It's that belief, right? These are the little things. That's the equivalent to wiping those glasses off and being able to see life through that different lens, right? You are creating that work and creating that belief that'll allow you to see that life. And, I've had people like, oh, but that's fake life because this is just things you're trying to trick yourself. I'm like, 4 years later, when I am that person and I wholeheartedly believe that I am a good father and a good husband and I understand my self-worth, you can't tell me that this is fake. It's for me, it's more about, this is the person who I strive to be, and this is the person who I want to be. I am going to be that person. And this is just part of the work to create that person and to create that identity. So for me, like, I thought that was so important. And I still don't remember that word, and I'm so frustrated. But I guess it's sort of like manifesting in one sense.
It's almost a form of hypnosis in some ways,
100%.
because you are in our there's a technique called emotional freedom technique, where it's like you're reprogramming those neural pathways, those things in your brain in order to think differently. And really, a belief is only something that you just keep saying to yourself over and over and over again. And the thing is sometimes it's about recognizing that. So like, it sounds like you recognize something and you thought, you know what, all it is taking one belief that you have and changing it in a different direction. It's not like you have to do anything major, but like, look how much that changed your life.
Sure.
And also changed all those people's lives around you, because when you show up as a different version of yourself, it definitely, that's so incredible, Rob.
I just think that when people talk about manifesting and the idea of manifesting, I love the fact that I could do that in my own voice. And I always tell people too, there's a lot of things we say or we think, but I'm like, but say it out loud so you can hear it, because I think there's a lot of power in your voice. In sales, for example, I constantly will ask my customers to tell me things because I want them to hear it. I want them to hear themselves say it, because I feel like it's important for you to hear yourself saying it. And in terms of believing something or really understanding it and connecting with something, there's so much power in your own voice to be able to do that. Imagine hearing yourself when you're that 400-pound person who hates themselves and hates life, talking about all these amazing things that you're going to do and this amazing person you are. Like, at first, it's uncomfortable, and it's, you do feel a bit fake about it. But then once you start believing that that's who you are, like, there's so much power in that. And hearing yourself say that, it's so powerful. I absolutely love that. I even have things like written on my wall. I know you mentioned like what's the word? Image boards? No, not image boards.
Vision boards, or
vision boards. Yeah.
Dream
like,
boards, people
yeah.
call them. Yeah.
Like in my office, like, I'll have specific priorities and different things and non-negotiables, and I will write it down on my board, and I'll be like, nope, I will look at that every single day and be like, no, this is important.
I know. I got a sticky note here and a sticky note here.
Sure.
I always keep them just right here. There's like some of my little goals and reminders to myself of what I want to do whenever I'm on camera, like who I want to be, who I am. I'm not going to say who I want to be. It's who I am, because if you say it in the present tense, you meet yourself there. So,
for sure.
Yeah, Rob, it's so true. It's incredible. And really, everything all it does is start with an intention. You can change anything. Like, a lot of times we have these fears that come up, like, I'll never be able to lose weight, or I know I'm going to, like, fear of regain. I know that I feel like I'm going to regain my weight. That's a fear.
Yeah.
You can change that around. Guys. And then once you change it around, you will not regain the weight, because your beliefs have changed.
Sure.
And I know your body follows your mind. I mean, it does. It's your bodies are so miraculous. They'll do what you want that you tell them to do.
Well, I always think about it this way. Like, I hear that a lot from a lot of people, and I'm like, okay, tell me what you're really good at. Like, oh, I can bake a mean cookie. I'm like, cool. So you are really good at baking a cookie. You can do this with your eyes closed. You can do this. If someone were just like, oh, bake me a cookie, you're like, okay, I'm going to bake you the best cookie because I could do it. I know how to do it. I've already done it. And they're like, yes. I'm like, didn't you just lose 150 pounds? And they're like, yes. I'm like, so you've done it. You know the work that you put into it. You know what it took. You've done it. And she's like, yes. I'm like, so try to shift your focus and perspective to not, I need to, it's going to be so hard to lose the next 10, 15 pounds, but focus it to, I've lost 150 pounds. I know how to do this. I know the work that needs to go in. I know how I did it previously. I can do this next 110 pounds. It's just like baking your cookie. You've done it. you've achieved it already, and you've kicked ass with it. Why can't you do it again? There's no reason you can't, right? You're right. Everything is about making slight shifts and being intentional with what you're doing. And that's actually one of the questions I had. So I know when I was looking through sort of the programs and all the things that you were talking about in regards to your program, you talked a lot about creating intentionally and manifesting. And again, for me, that's something I find very, very interesting and powerful. So, like, what would you say would be some of the most important things for people to consider, or some of the most powerful practices that they could consider when they're looking at being intentional and manifesting? Like, what is the power of it, and how would people get into that?
Sure. So I'll give a couple top ones.
Because there's a lot.
I think, yes, I think there, I mean, just for me, I think that was one of the first reasons I got into this work. Probably started studying it, let's see, I'm going to say maybe 20 years ago. But I think manifesting, like when you want things in your life and you want them to come quickly, like how do you make that happen? And it's about being, like I said, it's about being in that, I'm going to call it frequency, that vibration, that energy. It's about being there right now. So talking in the present moment, talking as if it's already happening. Now, if you're not right there in your belief system, it's about finding a way to shift that. Like, let's say it's that you want to lose 10 pounds. You can say, I am my healthy weight. But like, let's say that doesn't feel right whenever you're saying it. Like it feels off. And that means that's kind of a frequency in itself. It just feels off. You got a gap there. Like I'm going to say where you are and where you want to be. How do you close that? It's about finding little tweaks. Maybe it's about saying, I know it's possible that I can do this. I know it's about bringing yourself closer and closer and closer to that circle.
Right.
I know that other people have done it before and I'm no different than them. I know that I have the ability. I've, like you said, I've already lost XYZ amount of weight. Or if you're just starting your weight loss journey, you could say, I know I've tried things before where I've been able to make things happen in my life. I've been able to do this or this or this. I've done things that I've seen results in. So it's about talking yourself into it in the present moment to where you lessen that gap, that place of where you are to where you want to be. You close that. Second of all, it's about, so you ask, you allow, so you let go of that resistance, whatever resistance is there. You know how you feel resistance? It's when you feel some kind of pain. You feel like your energy level dips. You feel from up high, level of freedom, of power, to down low of, I can't do this, that type of thing. That's whenever you know you're dipping down. So you got to close that. You got to bring your level back up to a point of closing that. So number one, talk in the present moment, active is happening now. Close that energy gap, like know that you can do it. Somehow talk yourself into it by little increments, like bring that energy up. I think too, just your beliefs, recognizing when something comes up, not staying stuck in it, because it's only a thought. It's not you. It's just a thought. So finding a way to bring that around to feel a little better about it. Those are some powerful processes, I think. Sure. The affirmations can definitely help. But again, if you're finding yourself not resonant with an affirmation, you have to find a way to bring that around to make it feel a little bit more resonant. I will say, though, the best thing that you can do to create affirmations around is those things that are painful for you. So if you have pain around a fear, like let's say it's the fear of gaining weight, you have to find a way to find an affirmation that is the opposite of that. Like, I know I can do powerful things. I have done powerful things before. So you have to find a way, like the fear is that you can't do it. You feel like a failure. So opposite of a failure is being successful. So I know that I am successful in some parts of my life, and I know I can find a way. I know I can find support to be more successcul.
Yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
hope that's helpful. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. And yes, affirmations was the word. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So we have like 8 minutes left. And so there are a couple things I do want to ask. And one of them is about a post that you put up fairly recently, I think. And it was, this is a quote from it. Life is a state of mind. Our outlook significantly impacts our experiences. That one very much resonated with me. Especially, like if I talked about the whole like glasses thing, right? And seeing everything through a different lens. Like, where do you see this as being important for our community? Because I find that this is one that like I constantly struggle with to convey when I talk to people who are, I guess, where I was back then. And like I think I get caught in that. I see the amazing potential in everyone because I was them, but I don't always remember that my mindset back then was very difficult to sort of see where I can go, right? So how do you talk someone through or teach someone the whole idea that life is a state of mind and your outlook significantly impacts your experiences? How do you get that message across?
I think if I was working one-on-one with somebody, I would ask them what the things they are that they say to themselves every day. Like, what do you think about yourself?
Yeah.
Like, how do you see yourself? And that can be an eye opener, because do you see yourself as successful? Do you see yourself as beautiful? Do you see yourself as powerful? Do you see yourself as a creator? Do you see yourself as I don't know, everything, all the things that you want? Do you see yourself as healthy? Do you see yourself as being able to do the things that you want to do? And so I guess that would be, and if there is that uneasiness there, then what's causing that? Like, ask yourself. And we all go through different periods. I mean, I know I do every day. There's different things that I think, okay, that's something that I need to change my outlook on. I need to look at that a little closer and find out why that bothers me or why that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, our outlook really is, I like to think of it, our outlook is very much a puzzle, right? And all these little pieces are our beliefs in ourselves, right? Are you this? Are you this? Are you this? And whatever your thought is, that is one piece that goes towards that puzzle. And what that that picture at the end will be based on what those beliefs are. And so, the one thing that I think is static is the fact that it is a puzzle, but the picture, the image at the end, I think that's what you can change, right? And I think you can change that by working on those different beliefs that you have. To, again, as you had mentioned, like, how do we shift those things? How do we shift it so those beliefs are different? If you don't believe that you're healthy, how do we get to the point to do that? If you don't think that you're successful, how do we get to the point where you're able to focus on the successes in your life as opposed to your failures? And one thing that I think was really important for me is being honest with yourself, because I feel like in our head, we're able to not be honest with ourselves because it's, again, vocalizing, hearing your voice. It's easier to lie to yourself when it's in your mind and in your head. But when you write it down, or if you hear yourself saying these lies, it makes it real. And I feel like for me, that was really important for being like, okay, well, this is where I failed. This is where I was not as successful. And as a result of that, it was like sort of a big eye opener to be like, okay, this is where I also need to work on. Right. And so I feel like the honesty piece is super, super important for people. And hopefully it was just me and other people are honest with themselves and I was just lying to myself. But I feel like that's not
It's
necessarily
easy to lie to yourself though when you want to think that that's the
Sure.
way things are, because
Yeah.
you are, maybe it's a fear that stands in the way. It's not. I always think that we're never self-sabotaging ourselves, really. We're always just self-protecting because we're
Yeah.
always protecting ourselves from some type of pain.
Yeah.
You were protecting yourself. If you lie to yourself, it's a way of protecting yourself from experiencing something you don't want.
For
But
sure.
I think Rob, just to say though, as far as the classes and things like that I'm going to be doing, you mentioned something about taking the time, and when you started changing your mind by repeating affirmations or by repeating some things in your mind to change things, like even in a short amount of time, like I'm going to say a month or 2 months. The classes that we're doing are 12 weeks, so it'll be 3 months. Like, what would your life be like if you changed just a few things in your life, the way that your brain works? And what would your life look like? I know for me, I look back a year from now and I think, holy cow, there's been
Yeah.
so many incredible things that have changed in my life. And
I think that it's like a ripple effect, right? Like you think of something so small, and if you like, let's just say someone were to start your 12-week course, which if you are starting, just before I forget, you can also use Shea 15 to save $15 on Brenda's amazing class. She made sure to message me to make sure I don't forget that. But like, let's just say someone took your class and they said that my goal is to change this one little thing. If you think of the whole idea of a ripple effect, you think of a lake, a still lake, and you think of that one drop and the ripple effect of that as it sort of goes out and spreads out to different aspects of your life. I just think that it's so powerful, right? So like if someone were to take your course and in 12 weeks, they were able to change one habit or one belief, the impact or the implications of that one changed belief could be so profound to your life and to your success, and not even on a weight loss level for a bariatric community, but it can resonate in so many different aspects of your life, right? Like, I don't think that these changes that people are making when they address their mindset and address the different energies and the way that their body is working, I don't think it's like, oh, I want to do something that's specifically going to help me with weight loss. No, it's going to help in all aspects of your life, I feel. So like if someone were to take your course and 2-3 things that they end up leaving with and changing in that short period of time, those are those things that you never lose, right? Like if I think back to my beginning of my whole journey and the fact that I'm still utilizing a lot of those things 4 years down the line in all the different random and wacky things that I feel like I'm going to tackle this year, I'm like, okay, I use those same things. Those are the same principles. And those were the foundations of my life back then. And they still are the foundations of everything I do now. So I am super excited for people to jump in and take your course, because I would absolutely love to hear in 12 weeks that all these people have made these amazing leaps and changes in their life as a result of that. So that would be amazing, Brenda.
Oh, thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. For some reason, my computer is saying something is going to shut off and reboot. I have no idea why.
All right. Well,
you know why. But I do think you're right, though, Rob. I mean, what would your life look like? And I just think what shot in my mind when you said that was empowerment. Like, if you felt like you actually were able to do something, and to make a change, and you felt empowered, like a little bit of confidence, maybe we'll say confidence.
Yeah.
Like, how would that affect your health? How would that affect your finances? How would that affect your relationships when you knew that, like you were talking about your value? Like, how does that affect not just one little piece of your life, but it affects all over every single part. It affects your career too. It affects the work that you do. It affects the way you show up for your friends. Everything. Yes.
That's amazing. I can't wait. I'm so excited to hear all the different success stories and people who are super happy and successful based on the course. So I'm very, very excited for you, Brenda. If you can, I know it is 10. I know your computer is going to shut down on you soon, but if you can share with people where they can find you, where they can learn more about the course.
Sure, absolutely. So my Instagram name is Hoehn, my last name _ Brenda _ So my last name Hoehn _ Brenda. And if you go to my link tree, there's a link in there, and that is the link to the event that I'm having. And there's an online version, and there is a on-site version. So if you live in Perryville, Missouri, which literally no one does. That's the on-site one at Just Moist Yoga Studio. If you do sign up for the on-site or the virtual one, you'll have access to all of the online classes, and they'll all be on replay because people have been asking me if you can listen you can listen live. It'll be every week for 12 weeks at 1 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays, but there'll be a replay of that so you can listen to it anytime.
Perfect. And if you can, since this is the last show of 2024, if you can share one thing that you're looking forward to for 2025, what would it be?
I think it's creating some new things. It says I have 2 minutes now. Whatever reason, my computer's being crazy. My year, I actually have a notebook that I've already started writing down I go for every part of my life, and I write down when something comes to me. I carry it with me for like months, honestly. And I write down like when something comes to me and I think that's what I want to create in my part of my life, whether it's my health, like this next year, my health. I mean, I've lost the weight and I've started at the gym, but now I want to get more toned. I want to look like have Rob thighs. What do you call them?
Them thighs. That's a good goal. I like that.
I want to have them thighs. I want to get more. So I have like that to each part of my relationships, maybe strong relationships with my friends. I want to have more resonant relationships with people that I enjoy, like you, Rob, talking to, deep dive into conversations like this. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It's not just one little piece. It's too hard to answer that all in one question because I have a million things written down that I want in my life that I keep wanting. So sorry.
Well, we will then continue this conversation at the JBY where we will see you. We will be there. Brenda, thank you so much for joining us on. I absolutely love, like I said, this is me geeking out. This is similar to me and Kim talking. You are the equivalent. You are my brain equivalent and my mindset equivalent to Kim. So if we can all get together and just powwow over all this, it would be my favorite. Okay, so yeah, again, Brenda, thank you so much for joining us. This was an amazing show. And thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the Waiting Table Podcast and another year of the Waiting Table Podcast, where we're serving the weight loss community. And I will say it now because no one else will say it, 1 pound at a time. Have a good night, guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thank you guys very, very much.